The story you are about to hear is a work of fiction, a product of my imagination. This is part 2 of Jules. I realize it's not that scary, but it's an intro, so here we go. So let me quickly recap the first story. My name is Jules, and I can see and talk to ghosts. Until recently, they didn't know that I have this ability. But due to some unavoidable circumstances, my secret is out. To ghosts at least. There is no way I am telling anyone else about this. Peter is my foster brother, and the only one who knows my secret. He was just that observant, I guess. I just learned to be more careful with my reaction. But I don't really have to be, since me and Peter were always together. So, after foster mom's unfortunate accident, her bio kid Amy took over. And since the social workers were so backed up, they reluctantly agreed that we could stay with her on a trial basis. Me and Peter were so stoked to hear this news since we got close and the other foster family members weren't that bad. And for the most part, Amy would let us do what we wanted, within reason, and as long as our chores for the day were done, we were free. With her bio mom gone, Amy received a decent amount from her insurance, which she used to fix up the house we were in, and also managed to buy us 2 PCs that came in handy for schoolwork and such. She drew up a daily schedule for when we can use the PC. With the money that she was getting from the state, she also bought each of us our own smartphones. I told you she was decent. At this point, we would declare her a saint because you could tell she really did care about us. Of course, it wasn't a one-way street. We also helped her out. Apparently, she separated from her baby daddy, and he plans to relinquish his rights to baby Adam. Father of the year material, huh? Oh, I forgot to mention, Amy's mom's spirit disappeared after we saw her body. No, I don't know if it was permanent. Maybe. I haven't seen her since then. Anyway, Adam had free babysitters with all of us in the house. Plus, Adam is an adorable kid, so we didn't mind. For some reason, he gravitated towards me. Some other foster kid may be watching him, and all of a sudden, he would end up in my room. I call it my room, though I did share it with another foster kid. So I was designated as an official sitter for Adam. It was quiet for a while, since we were almost always home. I haven't seen any new ghosts other than those wispy figures in the cemetery. So of course, we started looking for them. We didn't say we were the most intelligent of the bunch. Peter started researching to see if there were others out there that had my same abilities. I told him it would be ridiculous if they advertised, but there were other cooks that publicized their so-called abilities. Further research showed that these people were exposed for being fakes. Then, Peter had the bright idea to look up haunted places in the area. Oh, this was a fun idea. Not. I now have a pet cat ghost. I named her Clean. Unique, huh? At first, I tried to get rid of her, but she refuses to leave my side. After a while, I loved the arrangement between me and Clean. Plus, Adam can see her too. But they all thought she was just a product of his imagination. Who am I to contradict? I have a pet cat ghost who doesn't need to be fed, whose litter I don't have to clean up because ew. But I always have someone with me, and like all cats, she comes only when she wants to. So Her Majesty's behind is either parked on my bed or by the windowsill whenever we are in the room, or she follows me around when I am out and about, which will serve handy as I was about to find out. Peter and I were exploring the nearby cemetery, and I saw this pair of glow-in-the-dark eyes on top of a headstone. I thought I'd imagine it at first, so I blinked and looked again. That's when I saw Kitten more clearly. Let me tell you 2 things I discovered that time. 1. Animals can be ghosts, though you don't really see a lot of them around. And 2. I can't tell how this one died. The latter fact I am so grateful for. I don't know what I would have done if I saw a roadkill ghost. Can you imagine? On second thought, I better not. As to how she got her name, that's what she always does. lick herself clean. I couldn't name the little minx lick. Besides, like I said, Adam can see her. I'd rather he says clean instead of lick. See, sometimes my thing called brain works. Amy thinks it's so funny whenever she sees Adam go into my room and says, "Clean, clean." I am so clever sometimes. Now I just gotta make sure the room is spotless. Otherwise, they will call me a slob and then tell me that even a toddler can tell. This may have happened once or twice. Good thing Adam helps me out too. He loves picking up stuff. Anyways, because I didn't know that Clean was already departed, I assumed she was alive. There is a reason why assumed starts with those first 3 letters. So never, ever assume. I bent down to pet her and she just curled into my hand. But when she went through it, I threw my hand away hastily in shock. She was my first ghost animal. That was the instant I became her human. The next place we visited was an abandoned warehouse. This is where I observed Clean's superpower. She was like my own personal ghost detector. I first noticed it when I saw her arching her back and making that hissing cat noise before we turned a corner in the warehouse. When we turned at that corner, that's when I saw this mist-like thing that was swirling its place. But it quickly vanished before I could point it out to Peter, who was busy watching his steps so he doesn't stumble and fall. Maybe it was a fluke, but Clean did it again. And this time, it was before Peter captured an orb with his digital camera. They say that an orb used to be a soul of a human being or an animal and is traveling from one place to another. They also say that an orb will manifest into a full-bodied apparition. Not that I saw that happen, because it vanished in front of our eyes. Now that I am embracing my talents more, I have seen some changes also. Annoying changes, but changes nonetheless. I can now tell if a presence is malevolent or friendly by their color. And the smell. OMG, the freaking smell. I was gagging, but Peter seemed to not even notice the stench in the warehouse. He later said that the warehouse smelled dank, but it was expected since it was an old building. So I guess I can see, hear, and smell ghosts? Sheesh. That's just too much extra sensory overload. Good thing, Peter brought some face masks with him. He said that it was to protect us from molds, but that he forgot that he had it with him. Which doesn't really make sense, but it helped minimize the smell, so I was more than happy to wear it. We explored more places like this one, but it wasn't until we went to an old abandoned farmhouse outside the town limit that we met Doug. Doug was an elderly gentleman who loved to spend his nights outside while enjoying his homebrewed moonshine. And according to the stories Peter heard, this is how he met his untimely demise. Moonshines, aside from being illegal, are unfortunately also highly flammable. And Doug knew this, except he didn't know that the batch he was distilling was leaking. Apparently, he lost his sense of smell in an earlier accident, and he was smoking a few feet away. He was a prime example of how smoking and drinking can kill you. In his case, it sent him off with a bang. Literally. The farmhouse we went to used to be Doug's place, and that's where he chose to spend his eternity in. He didn't want to go to his final resting place because he thinks he will be going down instead of up, because of his deeds. Peter chose this place because a lot of people claim to have seen and smelled cigars in the vicinity, but they can never find the source. And they said that every time someone bought the farmhouse, the animals they had were always restless. The chickens refused to lay eggs, and the cows gave curdled milk. Any family who would dare to live in the farmhouse could never get a decent night's rest. So finally, they just abandoned the place. As soon as we arrived at the farmhouse, Clean started hissing and growling, glaring at a distance. Her tail wouldn't stop wagging. In cats, that usually means that they were mad. I took a quick glance in the direction of where she was glaring at, but couldn't really see anything. I kept on looking, then saw this red dot. Maybe a lit cigar? I wasn't too sure. I noticed the red dot getting closer, and then I can hear a man's voice yelling at us. "You there! Get out of here! You is trespassing on private property!" I told Peter to slow down. Clean was hissing so furiously and launched herself at the specter of the old man. I glared at the old man and he was taken aback. Y'all can see me?" I nodded and he had the gall to look abashed. "Begging your pardon, little missy, but this here is private property and y'all is trespassing." "Who are you?" I asked. "My name is Doug." Peter looked at me questioningly and I told him there was a ghost. Peter looked around but of course couldn't see him. Clean settled down behind me out of his line of sight, but she was still watching him. Doug looked like your typical old man. He was dressed in dated clothes and was bleeding in one side of his face, with an arm missing. Doug looked a little brown, so to me, that meant he wasn't truly malevolent. He wasn't truly bad, but has a potential to become earthbound if he doesn't depart soon. I wasn't really too sure. "What are you still doing here?" I asked. "Not your business." Doug snarled and the wind lifted around them a tad bit forcefully. Okay, jeez," I said with my hands up. "Aren't you tired though?" I asked. "Yeah, but this is my property and I'm not leaving," Doug said stubbornly. "But why?" Doug just glared at me. "What can I do for you?" I asked him. Peter was just standing by my side, measuring data. "Nothing. Mind your own business," Doug said and promptly vanished. "You know I can see you, right?" I said, trying hard not to laugh. "Oh, for crying out loud," Doug said and reappeared in front of me, starting clean. "You just won't leave me alone, huh? Youngsters these days. Just no respect for elders." I chose to ignore that he was speaking more formally compared to earlier. Clean chose that moment to advertise her presence. "Land sakes, you have a cat with ya," Doug said, looking around. "Look at you, so precious." Doug's brownish tint color changed to slightly blue. I was taken aback. This was the first time I had ever encountered a ghost who could change colors. I turned towards Peter and told him about this phenomenon. "Peter, Doug changed colors," I whispered quietly. "How did that happen? I didn't know that was possible." Peter whispered back. "Y'all know I can hear you, right?" Doug was laughing at them while he was holding Clean, and Clean, that traitor, was enjoying it. For your information, since I've been around for a couple of centuries, I have adapted to the changes. Changes I think that will make me a valuable resource for you, Doug said. "Resource for what?" "I have Peter who helps me with that," I said stubbornly. "Knowledge not found anywhere else. After all, it's not like there's a lot of you all that can communicate with us," Doug said, smiling smugly. "Let me talk this over with Peter. Please give us some privacy." Peter and I walked a bit away. Doug turned around and focused his attention on Clean. Typical Clean just basked in the admiration. After some discussion, Peter convinced me to listen to what Doug has to offer. After all, Doug does possess knowledge that is not available anywhere else, but I warned Peter not to take everything at a face value, and to deal with Doug with caution. They both agreed that for now, Doug can be their other consultant. We went back to where Doug was standing. "Peter wants to know how you can be of help to us," I asked before Peter could open his mouth. Doug stood there and just looked at them. I thought that Doug was just bluffing. Then before I could react, Doug walked closer to Peter and touched his forehead. "Here is my gift to you." Peter stood there blinking and looked at Clean in wonder, but was scared at Doug's appearance. Does this mean I can see and talk to ghosts now?" "No, boy. I gave you the ability to interact with me and Clean only," Doug said. Makes it a little bit easier to talk to us without Girly here having to repeat everything I'm saying. How did you do that? Peter asked in wonder. It's a trade secret, Doug said. Remember, it's just me and Clean that you can interact with. Anything else that Girly here can see, you can't see or hear. Girly's name is Jules, I said irritably. Can you change your appearance into something less dead? Here's to a mutually beneficial partnership, Doug said as he extended his lone hand for a handshake. Instinctively, I extended my hand for a handshake and was mildly surprised that I could touch his hand. While we shook hands, Doug's appearance morphed into an old-fashioned old man with no wounds. I felt my jaw drop, but quickly recovered. I can see that this meeting has surprised you, Doug told us. Come back here another time and a little earlier. I am always around here somewhere. Just call my name and I'll come. Bye, sweetie. Doug waved at Clean and vanished. This time, I couldn't see where he went. Peter and I decided to just head home. We were tired from all the surprises that the day has brought us. Hey everyone! I just wanted to express how grateful I am that you took the time to listen to my narration. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I am Twisted Mind and please enjoy the rest of your day. Salamat!